Audio Jungle.
On the surface of the sea, an extremely huge three-masted giant ship was slightly undulating with the waves. From a distance, the painting of this giant ship looks like a great white whale floating above the sea in an extremely majestic and stalwart posture. Huge, powerful, steady, boundless momentum, even the sea is overwhelmed by it, not daring to make waves anymore. On both sides of it, a total of 4 battleships of the same shape but slightly smaller were also swimming behind each other, forming a terrifyingly powerful fleet together. These 5 warships are the main fleet of the world-famous Whitebeard Pirates. The super 3-masted ship in the middle like a white whale is Whitebeard's flagship, the Moby Dick. On the main deck of the Moby Dick, Whitebeard was wearing his iconic white-faced red-bottomed cloak, and he was sitting on his own deck seat. Beside him, several sexy nurses in pink skirts were busy helping him change the infusion bottle. Although his body was getting weaker and weaker, Whitebeard's gaze was still firm and menacing, and he swept across the dumbfounded 15 squadron captains on the deck one by one. Shensheng said, "You heard me right. I have decided to promote Roja to be my emperor's deputy from now on." After finally confirming that I heard correctly, the entire deck suddenly fell into a commotion. The 15 captains of the squadrons were fairly calm. They just quickly exchanged their suspicions with each other's eyes, but the backbones of the team standing on the periphery of the deck did not have such good self-control ability. Unable to hold back, one person asked the team members beside him, "Hey, have you heard the name Roja?" The team member who was questioned also shook his head blankly, obviously unfamiliar with this name. Fortunately, there are enough key players present. There will always be someone who has a little understanding of Roja, and you and I will discuss it one by one. It seems to be the watchman of our flagship. It's an apprentice lookout player. Well, when we played cards together last night, it seemed that he himself said so. Yes, it's the intern, and if I remember correctly, he should have boarded the boat last month when we replenished water on that unnamed island. That's the apprentice among the apprentices. A new crew member in less than a month, directly promoted to the Emperor's mate? What is his background? Soon, Roja's origin was pieced together by the crew, and along with the incredible voice of discussion, it reached the ears of the 15 captains. Marco, the Phoenix, has not been clearly appointed as the Emperor's deputy by Whitebeard, but the whole group has long agreed that he is the number 2 of the Whitebeard Pirates. At this time, the white-bearded father suddenly summoned all the captains and backbones and announced the appointment of this little-known Roja as the Emperor's deputy. Even Marco, who has always been calm, couldn't help feeling unwilling and dissatisfied. In terms of ability, his super regeneration ability of the Phoenix Fruit, combined with the 2 domineering colors of Armed Color and Knowledge Color, except for the leader Whitebeard, no one in the whole group can beat it. In terms of seniority, he started following Whitebeard 30 years ago and is one of the few crew members with the oldest seniority. In terms of merit, it can be said that among the achievements that the Whitebeard Pirates have achieved today, each has his indelible and outstanding contribution. However, it was Marco like this who lost the competition for the Emperor's mate without any warning to a pink newcomer who had just boarded the ship for less than a month. But the constant admiration for the white-bearded father made Marco forcefully hold back the dissatisfaction in his heart and did not explode on the spot. He has always had a good relationship with Marco, but the more irritable Foil Vista can't bear it anymore. With a sound of swiping, he drew out the 2 western swords at his waist and made a fierce crosscut strike in front of him. This slash cut the air in front of him into a cross gap that could not be healed for a long time, which shows the anger in his heart. Vista yelled, "Which one is Roja? Come out. Let me see. How can you get the position of Emperor's deputy?" Whitebeard has always treated his subordinates as tolerant as family members and children, so he didn't care about Vista's obvious arrogance. Just let out a burst of laughter, raised his head slightly, and looked at the sky. Marco knew Papa Whitebeard best, and he knew that Whitebeard would not waste any energy doing anything meaningless. Busily following Whitebeard's line of sight, sure enough, he saw a figure lying horizontally on the crossbar of the main mast. This person was resting his hands under his head, crossing his legs, shaking slightly with the ups and downs of the boat, giving people an indescribably lazy feeling. Is this person that Roja? This feeling is. He is sleeping? He is actually sleeping. The aura that I have seen, heard, and domineering is fully open, and I will definitely not go wrong. Therefore, Marco's anger, like the flame of a phoenix, suddenly burned violently in his heart. At such an important moment and occasion when Father Whitebeard announced the candidate for the Emperor's deputy, this person who was appointed as the Emperor's deputy was actually sleeping? He didn't even have the slightest respect for his father. Moreover, he was lying in that position instead of his own cabin, so he should be on duty, right? As a watchman, he actually sleeps during his duty? This is simply not taking your duty seriously, and you are dereliction of duty. Marco clenched his fists and said angrily in his heart, "Such a bastard, how can he be qualified for the important position of the Emperor's deputy of the pirates? The captain must change his mind and take back this ridiculous appointment." Thinking about this, Marco stepped forward, just about to appeal to Whitebeard, but he saw that Vista had jumped up and rushed towards the young man lying on the mast in the air. As the captain of the 5th team, and also an old man who has followed Whitebeard for 30 years, Vista's combat experience and ability are naturally beyond doubt. Almost at the same time when Marco discovered Roja's location, he also saw Roja, who was sleeping with his head in his arms. Captain of the 5th team, Vista, challenged His Majesty the Viceroy Roja. Vista's figure, while climbing to the highest point of the mast, also opened his mouth and roared out a declaration of challenge. After shouting, regardless of whether Roja reacted or not, he directly used his most gorgeous and eye-catching move, Rose Rondo. Two almost 2-meter-long Western swords drew swift and incomparable sword marks in the air, forming a piece of crimson magnificent rose petals, falling towards Roja's body. These petals seem to be falling slowly, but they are actually extremely fast. Almost in the blink of an eye, it has already fallen on Roja. The iconic smile also appeared on Vista's face at the same time. Although he felt wronged for Marco's loss of the post of Emperor's deputy, he dared not disobey Whitebeard's rule of prohibiting companions from killing each other. Therefore, this time the Rose Rondo, he was very precise. Vista's purpose is very clear, that is to attract the attention of all the pirates on the ship, and then shred the bastard's clothes in full view without hurting his oily skin. The harm is zero, but the insult is full. Your Excellency, the new Deputy Emperor, let you, under the strongest stunt of my great swordsman, become the eternal laughingstock of the Whitebeard Pirates. The rose petals look gorgeous, but they are armed with domineering sword energy. Under Vista's amazing control, they can cut anything he wants. In an instant, it poured on Roja, who seemed to be unaware. It's over, this kid's luck is over. A few pirates who had some friendship with Roja couldn't help turning their heads away, and couldn't bear to watch the tragic scene where he was cut into pieces by Vista's unique move. Although this Roja doesn't seem very reliable, but Vista teased him like this, I'm afraid it will make him hold a grudge, no matter what. He is also the Emperor's deputy appointed by the father himself. Several captains, including Marco, saw Vista's intention to attack, and were a little worried about the relationship between Vista and the new Emperor's deputy. While the rose petals were falling, Vista had also sheathed his sword. While gracefully falling to the deck, he folded his arms and smiled, waiting for the moment when Roja, under the collective gaze of pirates, would wake up in shock and lose all face. When his figure fell to the same level as the crossbar on which Roja was lying, the rose petals also fell on Roja at the same time. At this moment, Vista only felt a blur in front of his eyes. Roja's body seemed to twist slightly a few times, and the round of rose petals he cut out suddenly disappeared. Vista's eyes widened instantly, but his body was falling faster and faster. He was not allowed to carefully confirm what happened in the short moment just now. With a soft snap, Vista landed firmly on the deck. But my heart jumped violently. What is that? Domineering or fruit? Why did my rose petals disappear completely, as if they were eaten by something? Marco's heart tightened as well, and he looked at Jaws next to him, seeing that he was also surprised, and couldn't help but confirm the astonishing scene he had just seen. Vista's big move failed. It's not being avoided, it's not being parried, it's completely useless. A group of captains exchanged looks with each other. All of them were shocked and puzzled. Vista deliberately humiliated Roja's move, but it was completely resolved by Roja with a special method that they couldn't understand at all. What seemed impossible at first is a fact that they have witnessed together. The backbone team members and ordinary crew members who watched the excitement did not have such strong eyesight and knowledgeable arrogance as the captains, and did not see clearly what happened. Reasonably speaking, with Bista's strength, he should be easily crushed against a trainee lookout, but judging by Bista's face, why is he the one who was crushed instead? Hey, brother, what happened just now? I don't know, I only saw Captain Vista's sneak attack. Don't talk nonsense if you don't understand. How could the captain sneak attack? He had already yelled twice in a row before making the move, which gave Roja enough time to react. It can't be considered a sneak attack. It doesn't matter if it's a sneak attack or not. Roja seems to dodge, and it doesn't seem to dodge at all. Anyway, he missed it. The corners of Vista's eyes twitched, and countless red threads burst out of them. Even so, he still couldn't recall exactly what he saw just now. Is it really a perfect solution? With infinite doubts and shock, Vista tipped his toes, soared into the air again, and landed on the crossbar where Roja was lying. Roja was really unscathed, but his body twisted slightly. Although the range is not large, in the eyes of a great swordsman like Vista, it is already a very obvious displacement. With this clue, the situation between the flashes and flints just now was finally constructed and replayed in Vista's mind. The rose petals fell densely, and Roja's body instinctively wanted to dodge, but found that it was impossible to dodge completely. Therefore, Roja gave up dodging and let the rose petals fall on him. Then there is no more then. The petals are like snowflakes in the sun, melting and disappearing. So, he looks like this. Is he really sleeping, not awake at all? Isn't he pretending? Vista's heart shook wildly, and he hurriedly summoned up his knowledge and arrogance, and tried his best to perceive Roja's voice. However, no matter how confirmed, the result is still the same. Roja in front of him is indeed in a state of deep sleep. During a deep sleep, you somehow perfectly dodged my trick? Vista only felt his temples throbbing, his blood pressure soared so high that his brain vessels were about to explode, and his ears were buzzing. No, it's not as simple as just dodging. It's directly turning my sword energy into invisible. If it is not resolved, even if he can escape, the mast under him cannot be intact. What kind of ability is this? Even the devil fruit of the natural system can't do it at all. On the crossbar, Vista was in a state of confusion, wildly guessing the way Roja would resolve his unique move. On the deck, the discussion among the crew gradually became louder. Brothers, it seems that Roja is really strong, even Captain Vista is not his opponent. Nonsense. The Emperor's deputy appointed by the father himself, how could he not be strong? It doesn't seem right. Roja seems to be still sleeping. Could it be that Captain Vista just took a test and found that this kid really slept again, so he stopped? It has to be said that the analysis of this key team member seems to be somewhat reasonable. After Marco heard it, he looked up at Vista's expression, and he had doubts in his heart again. The key point is that Vista's sword chi entwined with armed domineering aura has completely disappeared without a trace, without causing any substantial damage, which is really outrageous. Marco turned his head and looked at Dad again. If anyone could give an accurate answer, it could only be Dad himself. However, all he saw was the inscrutable smile of Whitebeard. Obviously, the situation that Whitebeard Vista's challenge will be frustrated has long been foreseen. Marco couldn't help but said, from this point of view, Dad seems to have enough understanding of Roja's strength, so he made such a profound decision at this juncture. So, Dad, don't you even have confidence in the upcoming war? Thinking of this, Marco couldn't help feeling sour, and he no longer felt any resentment. I can give the position of Deputy Emperor to whoever I want. Whether I have this position or not doesn't affect my work, does it? The rest of the captains were roughly in the same state of mind as Marco at this time, and they were all surprised with some apprehensive expectations. Because ask yourself, let alone a state of deep sleep, even if they are going all out, none of them can resolve the Rose Rondo like this. Roja. In an instant, this name was deeply imprinted in the hearts of every captain. In any case, at the critical moment when they are about to go to the Navy headquarters to rescue Ace, the emergence of such a super expert is always a good thing for the Whitebeard Pirates. In this way, even if he is allowed to assume the extremely honorable position of Deputy Emperor, what's the problem? Being able to save his family and brother Ace is the most important thing. The captains have such knowledge and consciousness, and those backbone members and ordinary crew members are much worse. The strangeness of Vista and the collective silence of the captains made the pirates have to suspect that Vista has failed the challenge. As a result, the discussion became more heated. Looking at the expressions of the captains, it seems that Captain Vista is really defeated. Defeated? Just now you said that Captain Vista was trying. Nonsense. The captain can't be defeated. How could he lose to a trainee lookout? What trainee lookout? Master Roja is now the Emperor's deputy. Isn't it normal for the captain to lose to the Emperor's deputy? Even Whitebeard remained silent, and the pirates below were naturally becoming more and more unscrupulous, blushing and making a lot of noise. It's so noisy, isn't it about a meeting? No matter how noisy it is, people can't sleep well. Roja slapped his ear in disgust and sat up helplessly. Hey, Brother Vista, why are you standing here? Do you want to imitate other people's flying dragons? Be careful, I'll beat you up, Roja said, shaking his fist jokingly. Unexpectedly, this blow frightened Vista, who had already been shocked. I saw him jumping back to distance himself, followed by a bang, and drew out his swords again. Although I am not your opponent, I will do my best. Make a move. The new Deputy Emperor. He looked like he was facing a big enemy, but he was generous to die. Roja, who hadn't woken up, was really a little confused. Pointing to his nose, he asked, "The new Deputy Emperor? Are you talking about me?" At this moment, Roja finally came to his senses, jumped off the mast, and lightly landed in front of Whitebeard. Hey, old man, you're very dishonest. While I'm asleep, you're trying to put a hat on me and put more burden on me, right? Whitebeard laughed loudly, stroked his signature crescent-shaped white beard, but did not speak. Several old people who knew him very well, such as Marco and Vista, were stunned again, because they knew very well that Whitebeard's laughter and movement were exactly the movements he felt he was guilty of and guilty of. So, the old man really took advantage of other people's sleeping time, came to kill first and then play, and forcibly put the hat and responsibility of the Emperor's deputy on Roja's head? Moreover, in the face of Roja's akimbo-kissed appearance, not only did the father not get angry, but he was also prepared to compromise. All the captains and key players were collectively confused, but Roja was really angry. Although he doesn't dislike becoming a pirate, otherwise he wouldn't be on Whitebeard's flagship, but the feeling of being assigned by someone out of nowhere is very unbearable. Just about to attack, the sound of the system suddenly sounded. Congratulations to the host, becoming an official member of the Whitebeard Pirates and enabling the bounty achievement function. After receiving the system prompt, Roja temporarily let go of Whitebeard and clicked on the details to check. I thought it was a good thing, but it turns out that as the bounty increases, attribute points can be rewarded. Every additional million rewards is exchanged for attribute points, so it can only be said that it's not bad. If you can get the bounty of the 4 Emperors level, you can almost have attribute points, which is enough to point the other 2 kinds of domineering and fighting to the extreme mutation. With a thought in Roja's mind, all aspects of the system's information appeared in his consciousness. Name, Roja. Occupation, Pirate. Affiliated Pirates, Whitebeard Pirates. Position, Vice President. Overlord Color Domineering, 0, undeveloped. Armed Color Domineering, 0, undeveloped. Knowledge Color Domineering, 1500, extreme variation. Vitality 999, Extreme. Fighting 66, Bar Brawls. Weapons 0, Undeveloped. Special skills none. Bounty 0, Obscurity. This character template, Roja has no choice at all in the beginning, except for the natural vitality of 999. The others are all 0 eggs. Fortunately, the system also gave away 1,000 attribute points, so they didn't get caught. Roja simply added all the attribute points to the knowledgeable domineering. After reaching 1,000 points, the domineering power of knowledge and knowledge was directly added to the extreme development state. In this state of extreme development, the domineering color of knowledge has broken through from the internal function of improving perception to the degree of exaggeration that can be released externally in one fell swoop. Roja's whole body is surrounded by invisible domineering aura all the time, allowing him to dodge any attack fully automatically without dead ends, even when he loses active consciousness such as drunk or sleeping. Roja is naturally very satisfied with such an exaggerated defensive effect. However, after boarding the Moby Dick, the system rewarded another 500 attribute points. Roja then came up with another idea. If these 500 attribute points are used again on the extremely developed knowledge-colored arrogance, what will happen? Thus, there is now this 1,500-point, extremely mutated knowledge-colored arrogance. At this time, the information-colored domineering has surpassed the category of domineering, and has become an existence similar to a force field, and its effect can only be described as a miracle. Roja named it the Field of Knowledge and Color. Worthy of being the white beard of the head of the 4 emperors, I have already restrained the field of knowledge to this extent, but he still saw the clues and forced me to be the emperor's deputy. This is forcing me to help him save Ace in disguise. Roja took another look at the begging white beard and finally softened his heart. What could be wrong with an elderly father who only wants to maintain his big family at sea and save his beloved godson? Roja sighed softly and said helplessly, "Okay, I'll temporarily accept the position of deputy emperor." Hearing the words, Whitebeard immediately became overjoyed, and his beard curled up even more stylishly. Roja continued to add, "However, the ugly words are up front. I will definitely not help you fight and kill the Navy. You can only rely on yourself." Seeing that the white-bearded father was aggrieved, what he got in return was such an arrogant attitude from Roja. All the captains were naturally very upset. Marco frowned slightly, but when he saw his father's relieved expression, he suddenly understood something and finally parted his brows, revealing a smile. Just as he was about to go forward to talk to Roja, a sudden change occurred. I saw Izan, the captain of the 16th Division, suddenly pulled out the 2 muskets from his waist, aimed at Roja and pulled the trigger. And as soon as he made a move, it was his signature stunt, Dan Jamwan. The domineering armed color is precisely wrapped around each steel ball, forming a domineering ring. On the basis of the kinetic energy of the shooting, adding a layer of domineering slashing effect, the power is naturally extraordinary. The irregular rotation of the bullet after it hits the target will reduce the damage of the armed domineering slash infinitely, which is many times more ferocious than ordinary blooming bullets. Although the other captains were inexplicably shocked by this sudden situation, they were already powerless to stop it. Because under the blessing of domineering, the speed of the bullets is too fast, and the incident happened suddenly, leaving them with too short reaction time. Even so, Marco, who was closest to Roja, still tried his best to punch, trying to help Roja share part of the pressure. But his fist was still a little slower, and it didn't interfere with the flight trajectory of Dan Jamwan. However, in the face of this sudden attack, Roja did not react in any panic at all, and even smiled at the corner of his mouth. Because of this speed of attack, it is impossible to hit him. It's just a few bullets. If they can knock down a single hair in Roja, it's considered a victory. Not to mention, before Izang drew his gun, Roja had already predicted all his actions by relying on the passive effect of the field of knowledge and color. It has also been clearly perceived for a long time that there is no murderous intent in these few bullets. Roja watched with leisure as a few bullets shot towards him and then disappeared without a trace at a distance of less than 1 centimeter from his body. At the same time, he secretly smiled and said, "Since you still want to watch it, I'll let you watch it enough." Marco waited for the captains, and then remembered that Vista's Rose Rondo just disappeared in such a strange way. Although I have seen it once, but this time I watched it from the perspective of the flat ground, it is more shocking than the first time I saw it. Marco even forgot to withdraw his fist, and stared at the place where Dan Janwan disappeared in an extremely awkward posture, motionless. The Backbone team members also dropped their jaws in shock, and fell silent for an instant. Captain Vesta's Rosarondo has no effect. Captain Zhang's bullet, Janwan, disappeared out of thin air. Everyone looks at me and I look at you, but they have no idea what happened. Only Yi Zong was not surprised at all. Seeing that the bullets he fired disappeared without a trace as expected, Yi Zhang's face showed a triumphant smile of "It's not what I expected." Blow on the still smoking muzzle, and put the gun in the holster gracefully. Then he said, "Everyone has seen it. The strength of the new Deputy Emperor is absolutely worthy of this position. Captain Vesta's Rose Rondo and my Danzanwan couldn't reach me at all, and they were dispelled invisible by the invisible force field. Everyone, have you ever seen such an ability?" The pirates didn't know what to do with the unique demonstration and explanation. No one is overjoyed that the new Deputy Emperor's strength is really so strong. Looking at Roja's eyes, there is no doubt anymore, but the recognition and admiration, of course. Worshipping the strong is a common feature of pirates. Roja felt the enthusiasm in the eyes of all the pirates, and also felt some sense of accomplishment in being sought after by others, and the corners of his mouth could not help but turn up even more. Izang really deserves to be the successor of Waliuliu Dance School and the king of women's clothing. Such delicate thoughts and ingenious public relations techniques have achieved remarkable results. It is easy to dispel the doubts in the hearts of most pirates and outline a powerful and mysterious image of himself. Roja would like to call it the strongest PR. At this time, Marco also understood Yi Zhang's intentions and saw that Roja was also smiling and didn't mind his unconventional methods, so he was relieved. Stretching out his hand to Roja, he said sincerely, "Welcome to the Whitebeard Pirates, Your Excellency the Emperor." Roja smiled slightly, holding the kindness released by Marco. Vista also approached and asked eagerly, "Your Majesty, may I ask, what domineering or fruit ability did you use to defuse Izang and I just now?" Roja didn't have the idea of keeping things a secret when he saw that the domineering color mutated into a force field. He got it by adding points to the system, and if others want to imitate it, they may have to pay an unimaginable price. Then he opened his mouth and explained, "What I use is the field of knowledge and domineering." Knowledge-colored domineering field? The question asked by Vista is also something that other captains, as well as Whitebeard himself, are very concerned about. Directly making other people's attacks completely disappear, this kind of ability is simply outrageous, and everyone must want to find out. But this brand new term, which was unheard of, once again exceeded their imagination. Everyone knows the color of knowledge and domineering. What is the situation in the field of knowledge and color? Roja saw that everyone was looking for knowledge, so he continued, "After developing the domineering aura to the extreme, if you go up to a higher level, you can reach the realm of the domain." Marco was both puzzled and shocked and said, "As far as I know, domineering development can be roughly divided into lower level, middle level, and upper level. There are very few people who can develop domineering to the upper level. After the ultimate development, they will go up to a higher level and form a domain. This is too unbelievable." Roja smiled slightly and expanded the knowledge-colored domain that had been restrained and tightly attached to the surface of his body without reservation. The entire fleet was immediately enveloped by the knowledge-colored domain. No matter how much you say, it is not as direct and effective as letting them experience it for themselves. Marco's expression froze, and he said in disbelief, This feeling of being completely seen through. Is this the realm of knowledge?" Vista, on the other hand, was holding the hilt of the sword tightly, panting gradually, and said with difficulty, "It seems that there is someone in my consciousness who keeps dismantling my sword moves. No matter how I change my moves, I will be completely seen through in an instant, and I can't resist at all. It's a terrifying field. On Whitebeard, there was a real deterrent force, and it turned out to use the Overlord-like arrogance directly against Roja's knowledge-colored domain. But obviously, the effect is not ideal, because the breath of the Whitebeard is obviously messy. But that deterrent force did not have any impact on Roja. To be precise, in the field of knowledge and knowledge, Whitebeard's domineering aura is so suppressed that it can't be formed at all. Father is not even an opponent. The captains who struggled against the terrifying field couldn't help but feel terrified. This is the strongest man in their minds. The white-bearded father who has traveled all over the world for decades is actually suppressed by the field of knowledge and color. Whitebeard and the captains, in astonishment, struggled against Roja's knowledgeable field. The strength of the core players on the periphery has weakened a bit, and under the influence of the knowledgeable field, there are already obvious signs of something wrong. Brothers, do you feel very anxious? What's the matter with wanting to kill someone? Do you also feel this way? My big knife is already too hungry. I'm different. If you want to kill people, I just want to go back to the cabin and count the money I saved. Ah, Ms. Moore from Blue Secret Isle, do you still remember me? For a while, the key team members were all attracted by the things they most wanted to do, sinking into all kinds of anticipating emotions, unable to extricate themselves. And the weaker ordinary crew members have already become a mess. Some fought each other over a bottle of wine, some robbed their companions of property, some showed love to their companions crazily, and so on. But it's clear that these ordinary crew members don't have much sense to speak of. Seeing that the entire fleet was about to go into chaos, Roja took back the knowledgeable domain. Everyone's sanity returned to normal in an instant, and their movements also froze. What just happened? It's like someone whispers something in their ear and then they don't know anything. Let's talk, let's talk, let's talk. What are you doing with my belt? Aren't your hands holding onto my belt? Marco wiped off the cold sweat oozing from his forehead, but still couldn't stop gasping. Trembling said, "Is this the power of the domain? Insight into people's hearts, crack weaknesses, and cite emotions, and what's more frightening is that it can suppress other domineering." Roja smiled and said, "That's a good summary. These are just the most common passive effects in the field of knowledge and knowledge. There is no need to make such a fuss." Bista exclaimed, "Is this just a passive effect? What is the unusual passive effect, and what is the active effect?" Roja raised his eyebrows and said, "I'd better not say it, for fear of scaring you. When you reach this level, you will naturally understand." Then, he turned to Whitebeard and said, "Old man, since you must give me your whole life's effort to take care of, I'll do what I can, so I'll call your helpers. By the way, let's solve your physical problem. Admiral and the 3 generals, your current situation is a bit difficult to deal with." Whitebeard finally showed a bright smile on his face, patted his knees and said, "Immediately send an order to the world, and I want the whole world to know that Roja is the Queen's deputy of our Whitebeard Pirates. Everyone, please join me in witnessing the great moment when the world government issued tens of billions of bounties for him." Hearing such a declaration, Roja couldn't help but said, "This old man really understands it very well." There was also a proud smile on his face. He nodded and said, "Believe me, that day won't be too far away." The voices of the 2 spread throughout the flagship and the 4 warships, and entered the ears of every pirate, causing everyone's blood to boil, and they cheered in unison. Whitebeard and the captains have intuitively understood Roja's strength. The other pirates have also been subconsciously implanted with the belief that Roja is extremely powerful by the field of knowledge. So far, Roja has been promoted from a trainee lookout to the rocket promotion of the 2nd in command of the entire pirate group, and no one dares to question it. In view of Whitebeard's physical condition and management habits, in fact, Roja is already the actual talker of the pirates at this time. The news quickly reached the news agency. President Morgans tapped Roja's photo with his finger. What a young and handsome face. He debuted as the vice president of an old and powerful pirate group like the Whitebeard Pirates. Are young people nowadays so powerful? How much bounty will the world government give you? Let's wait and see. The newly published newspapers were sent to all over the world by the seagulls, bringing the news of Roja's birth to everyone's attention. Naval Headquarters Marine Vander, Operations Conference Room. Admiral Sengoku threw Roja's photo on the table and let out a dissatisfied hum. Roja, the Emperor's deputy, only has a name and position, no background, no strength assessment, no past record. Do you dare to present such an irresponsible report in front of me? The chief staff officer who submitted this report, Suru, slowly fiddled with the 2 gold bracelets on his right hand. It seems that he doesn't take the anger of the Warring States period to heart at all, until Red Dog Sakaski, Yellow Monkey Polyusolino, and Akiji Kuzan also put down the materials in their hands. Then he said slowly, according to the information I got from the CP, this Roja has fought with Vista and Izang successively. As a result, Vista and Izang suffered a disastrous defeat, and they were powerless to fight back. Akainu twisted his neck and said, so, his strength is indeed the number 2 of the Whitebeard Pirates, second only to Whitebeard himself? Crane nodded and said, from the intelligence analysis, it seems to be the case. It's just that it's not ruled out that Whitebeard deliberately disturbed our site in preparation for attacking our headquarters. Huan Yuan let out a few weird laughs, pushed the toad mirror on his face, and said, it sounds so scary, is even Whitebeard going to play tricks? Hearing this, the wrinkles on Crane's face were squeezed even tighter, and he wished he could pinch the yellow ape to death with his wrinkles. The domineering look of the Warring States period shocked everyone, instantly attracting everyone's attention. He opened the mouth and said, no matter how strong Roja is, the plan to execute Ace cannot be destroyed. Order. The elites of all ministries and the king's Shichibukai immediately gather at the Navy headquarters. Edward Newgate. Since you want a decisive battle, this marshal will send you a decisive battle. This time, the marshal will definitely wipe out you and your pirate group. After finishing speaking, Warring States slapped the report. The 3 generals and the Crane were about to leave, but hearing Zhang suddenly let out another contemptuous sneer. He added again, for Roja's bounty, just give him 1 Bailey. Whether Whitebeard wants to use him to interfere with his vision or to boost morale, this marshal will let him suffer for himself. Crane smiled slightly and said, humilifying Roja is tantamount to humiliating Whitebeard. 1 berry is indeed a good bounty. Within half a day, this reward order for only 1 berry spread to everyone who paid attention to the reward. Is Whitebeard serious? The bounty of the majestic deputy is only worth 1 berry, and buying a newspaper costs 100 berries, everyone. Although I hate the Navy, I have to say that the Navy did a great job this time. It successfully aroused my fighting spirit like never before. Brother, why did you stab me with a knife? Sorry, my knife is too fast. I didn't have time to find out that you are a friendly army. Roja threw the newspaper in his hand into the sea. Looking at the newspaper that published his 1 berry reward order, he was swallowed by the sea in an instant. Marco leaned over and comforted him, my lord, don't pay attention to such boring things. The Navy just wants to use this kind of boring tricks to try to damage our morale. Roja smiled and said, this kind of boring trick is indeed very useful, Marine Headquarters, Marin Fando, haha. Marco patted Roja on the shoulder, changed the subject and said, calm down, it's getting dark, why don't you come to my cabin and play cards together? Starting tomorrow, other pirate groups will gather here one after another, and there will be no more time to relax and relax. Roja couldn't help feeling admiration for Marco's courage, and he dared to take the initiative to play cards with himself who has the knowledgeable field. Marco, you are so brave. It was night, and Roja was killing all sides at the poker table. In the field of knowledge and knowledge, everyone's hand is a clear card to Roja. Whoever loses and who wins is naturally under his control. In the early morning, Roja came out of the smoky cabin. As soon as the fresh sea breeze blows, the slightly tired spirit immediately recovers. With a move in my heart, I look towards the south. Finally, a member of the Alliance Pirates has arrived. Even though they were far apart, The original pirate ship only had a small mast exposed on the distant horizon. The incomparably powerful field of knowledge and knowledge has already sent the identity information of the comber into Roja's consciousness. Great Eddie Spider Squad, if you knew that Ace was Roger's own son, would you still be so active? Roja smiled softly and returned to his luxurious cabin of the Emperor's deputy class. Although Squad's ship is already in sight, it will take at least half a day to sail to the vicinity of the Moby Dick. Roja still has plenty of time to catch up on beauty sleep. Around noon, Scuyad's flagship finally rushed over. A small sampan was lowered from its flagship, and several sailors quickly rowed under the Moby Dick. Scuyad jumped into the basket lowered on the deck and boarded the Moby Dick smoothly. The one who greeted him was Marco, who was a little depressed. After losing all night, at the end of the day, he finally recovered his losses with a big comeback. Marco was so excited that he didn't fall asleep all morning. At this time, seeing Scuyad, who was the first to respond to the call to come to support, Marco hurriedly mustered up his energy and stepped forward to give him a big hug. "Scuyad, you've worked hard all the way," Scuyad said sullenly. "Marco, let me ask you, what is going on with this Roja? Our majestic Whitebeard Pirates, the bounty of the Emperor's deputy, is only one berry. This matter has already spread. How can we hang out in the New World in the future?" Marco said, a little displeased. "This is obviously a conspiracy by the Navy to hit our morale. Do you even believe this?" Scuyad was even more angry and said, "How did I hear that this Roja is just a trainee lookout for less than a month? Is there no one in our pirate group? Newcomers can also be Emperor's deputy." Marco took a deep breath, suppressed his anger and said, "This is Dad's decision. Don't you believe his vision?" Scuyad snorted angrily and said, "I don't believe what I say. It was that Ace before, and now there is Roja again. Dad prefers newcomers, don't you feel it? This time, I will definitely challenge Roja face to face and let my father see clearly how unreliable these newbies are." Hearing this, Marco couldn't help showing a contemptuous smile on his face. "Challenge Roja face to face? You will soon understand that the bounty does not represent the truth of combat power." Marco's gaze, beyond Scuyad, looked at several other flagships of the Alliance Pirates group that were approaching this side on the sea. "I thought in my heart, although these independent pirate groups on the periphery are also obedient to what the old man says, their mentality is much wilder than that of the captains. It's better to let this big spider act as a chicken to warn the monkeys. Let these people understand the terrifying strength of the Emperor's deputy, so that these people don't know why and make troubles." At this point, Marco smiled and said, "Since you want to see the strength of the Vice Minister Emperor so much, I will ask for you to see if he is interested in teaching you a lesson." After finishing speaking, he ignored the impulsive and irritable Scuyad and went straight to Roja's private cabin for the Emperor's mate. Just as he was about to knock on the door was opened from the inside. Roja yawned and said, "I already understand the whole story. Now, let me solve this problem once and for all." Roja strode up to the deck while talking and sat in the position where Whitebeard usually sat. At this moment, Whitebeard is recuperating in the captain's room, so naturally Roja should take this position. The other captains who had already heard the news and rushed to the deck naturally wouldn't have any opinion on it. In their view, this is already a matter of course. But Scuyad, who had just arrived and knew nothing about the field of knowledge and color, was directly blown away. "If it wasn't for Daddy's praise, with your small body, you don't even have the qualifications to board a boat, yet you dare to sit in Daddy's place. You want to die." With a roar, Scuyad leaped a distance of more than 10 meters with a stride. The right arm pressed down violently, resisting the giant blade on the shoulder, drawing a full arc and smashing the sheath to the top of Roja's head. With the length and weight of his giant blade, there is not much difference if it cannot be drawn out of its sheath. Even if it is used as a blunt weapon, it will still be extremely lethal. Under Scuyad's rage, this blow almost reached the peak level of his physical skills. The younger brothers who followed him, who were watching directly, were full of emotions and cheered him up wildly. The 15 captains lazily found a position with a good view, waiting for the good show to take place. The giant blade slammed down with a whistling sound, reaching a position less than 10 centimeters above Roja's head in an instant. Roja, who hadn't gotten enough sleep, couldn't help but yawned again, looking extremely disdainful. "Bastard boy, you are dead today." Scuyad was so stimulated that he became even more angry and went mad. No longer caring about the prohibition of companions not to kill each other, twisting the handle of the knife, the giant blade that was originally flattened turned into a downward pointing blade. This time, the lethality doubled immediately. However, the expected headshot scene like splitting a coconut did not happen. Scuyad only felt that the giant blade in his hand seemed to be cut on some barrier and slipped away from Roja's side without any force. "What is this? Knowledgeable and domineering?" Scuyad was startled, but then denied his deduction. "No, if it's a matter of knowledge, he should have avoided it, and it shouldn't be me who cut the air out of nowhere." Scuyad slashed through the sky in a fit of anger, and the younger brothers who were cheering for him suddenly fell silent. "What's going on? Why did Boss Spider let this kid go?" A key team member watching from the side couldn't help but sneered and said, "Since you have eyes, it's useless, you should pick them out and step on them. If your captain can hit the Emperor's deputy, I will help you wash the toilet every day on your ship without saying a word." Another key team member persuaded, "You tell these bumpkins, how could they understand? Look, Scuyad is ready to move again." Scuyad took a step back in surprise, holding the handle of the knife with both hands instead. With a shock to his shoulders, the scabbard flew far away, revealing the giant blade that shone coldly inside. It's impossible for this kid to be so powerful, otherwise, how could he not be famous all the time? I must have slipped my hand just now. This time, I will go all out and definitely won't give him any more chances. Scuyad raised his voice, and a weak-armed domineering energy slowly wrapped around the giant knife in his hand. Seeing this, Marco couldn't help chuckling and said, "I said why this guy's temper is much more violent than before. It turns out that he has awakened domineering and has more confidence." When the giant chopping knife made a horizontal cut, the wind from the knife even made a whistling sound, which showed the power of the knife. Vertical chops are easy to go astray, but this knife cuts horizontally. No matter how sideways it is, it will still cut you. With a swipe of the chopping knife, an exaggerated slash was drawn in front of Scuyad, perfectly avoiding Roja, who was sitting still. A drop of sweat finally oozed from Scuyad's forehead. A slap fell on the deck, breaking the awkward silence on the deck. At this time, the other two captains of the Alliance pirates also boarded the deck together. It was the Ranger Doma and the Ice Witch Whitebeard. Seeing Scuyad in such a weird pose in front of Roja, the two couldn't help but looked at each other, feeling a little confused. Whitebeard couldn't help but said, "Is Scuyad performing juggling to the newly promoted Emperor's vice minister?" Such cynicism immediately dispelled Scuyad's reason for reoccupying the high ground. "Damn bastard! Go to hell!" Scuyad howled wildly, gave up the giant chopping knife in his hand, and pulled out another long knife with a normal shape from his waist. The giant chopping knife mainly focuses on slow and heavy strikes, and this long knife is naturally good at speed. In the blink of an eye, Scuyad had slashed more than 20 times in a row. Every knife, from different angles, or cut, or beheaded, attacked Roja's throat almost at the same time. The speed was so fast that it was impossible to judge which knife was his real killing move. "Skate again if you have the ability. Block all your angles. Let me see how you let me slip again." Scuyad's super performed series of slamming attacks made other people who watched subconsciously lean back, fearing that the target was exactly the same as him. Bista couldn't help admiring, as expected of a guy whose physical skills are comparable to Ace, such as sharp knife. "Even I can hardly do it." Roja also didn't expect that this Scuyad was so stubborn and didn't know how to advance or retreat. After clearly sliding away the first two swords, he had already realized the huge gap in strength between the two, and he still refused to stop. As the vice president of the Emperor, if someone cuts him down while sitting still, Roja doesn't want to lose face. "For the active ability in the field of knowledge and color, let's take you first." Scuyad's younger brothers didn't have the ability to read Roja's heart. Seeing that Scuyad seemed to have the upper hand, he became arrogant again. He yelled, "Stinky boy! How dare you speak big words in front of Grandpa? Wait until you wash the toilet on our boat." "Hey, my toilet hasn't been washed for several years. If you can't clean it, don't blame me for using it to fetch water for you." The previous Backbone players had unparalleled confidence in Roja, disdainfully said, "Keep your dog eyes wide open and look carefully, the Vice Lord hasn't been hit yet." Before he finished speaking, he only heard Roja's voice, which had already echoed on the entire deck. "Scuyad, I'll count to 3. If you don't obediently back down, you will be at your own risk." His voice is so clear, even in all kinds of noise, it is clear to the ears. Everyone was a little overwhelmed. The captains, including Marco, also looked at a loss, not knowing what trick Roja would use this time. 1. Scuyad has been completely dominated by anger and shame. Not only did not retreat, but the knife in his hand swung even faster, forming a phantom in front of Roja. However, this blade phantom couldn't touch Roja, who was motionless anyway, and all of them slid away inexplicably. 2. Intuition told the onlookers that a scene that subverted their imagination was about to take place. Doma and Waitib's nerves were also tensed by this countdown, nervously waiting for the moment to reveal the voodoo. 3. Counting out the third sound, the deck suddenly fell into a strange tranquility. Under everyone's attention, Roja slowly got up from his seat and stretched out his arms forward. This ordinary movement of reaching out directly passed through the shadow of the knife cut by Scuyad and landed on Scuyad's right hand holding the knife. With a light pinch, the long knife was taken away from Scuyad's hand. The shadow of the knife all over the sky collapsed without a trace in an instant. The point of the long knife has changed from Roja's throat to Scuyad's heart. Everyone could see the whole process clearly, but they didn't understand it at all. Marco murmured, "Is this the field of knowledge and knowledge? No attack can fall on the body?" Vista's eyeballs protruded, beating irregularly, and his right hand continued to reach forward again and again, obviously imitating Roja's movement of grabbing the knife just now. On Chaozi's body, the light of the diamond kept flickering, and his body kept shaking. But obviously, even if it was just a simulation, he couldn't pass through such dense blade shadows unscathed. Doma's lips trembled, and he looked at Waitib beside him, and said in a trembling voice, "Scuyad's physical skills are said to have reached the pinnacle, right? Is it reasonable to miss an arm at such a close distance?" Whitey Bay has lost the ability to speak, just shaking his head non-stop. Although they didn't understand the incomparably treacherous process of grabbing the knife, they already had a sufficient understanding of Roja's strength. Scuyad's younger brothers had already collapsed to the ground. After the boss provoked the Emperor's deputy and suffered a disastrous defeat, what will happen to meet the big Whirlpool Spider Group? Is there any need to say more? The few key players who had argued with them before did not even bother to look at these clowns at this time, and only locked on Roja with fanatical eyes. Naturally, the feelings of the onlookers towards Roja's grabbing the knife cannot be compared with that of Scuyad himself. And Scuyad himself, at this time, has fallen into a complete sluggish state. Roja's arm passed through the shadow of the knife he cut without a hair, and the process of taking the long knife in his hand was constantly being staged in his mind. Even, he has forgotten that Roja is holding a knife against his heart, and he will die at any time. But if he can't figure out the key to this, he will die with regret. Every time the blade falls, it slides away inexplicably, and it can also be explained by the dodging ability of the knowledgeable and domineering. This kind of direct passing through the shadow of the knife, it has already cut his arm, but it didn't cut anything. How can this be explained? Puzzled, Scuyad felt his heart tense, urging him to find the answer to this question as soon as possible. However, what came to my ears were the voices of other captains discussing the same issue in low voices. What I saw in my eyes was the scene where Vista, Jaws, and others kept trying, but they couldn't get the essentials of Roja's move. What broke him the most was the vague smile on Roja's face, contemptuously ridiculed his incompetence. The persistence in his heart suddenly collapsed completely, and Scuyad felt his legs go limp and knelt down in front of Roja in resignation. "Your Majesty, my subordinates have eyes that don't know Mount Tai, offended you. Please punish and convict me." For such a result, Roja is very satisfied, not only to disintegrate all the opponent's offensive means, but also to destroy the opponent's will and belief. The concept of being invincible is directly rooted in the will of the opponent. The opponent can only surrender, worship himself, and treat himself as a god. If the field of knowledge and color takes the initiative to attack, it should have to achieve such an effect. This move, Roja named it Duoshin. The essence of Duoshin is that it uses the field of knowledge and knowledge to let the opponent witness the most unacceptable future of fiasco, and then turn this future into reality. The severe damage to the opponent's mind far exceeds the damage caused by his actual defeat. Such a powerful move with effect as cause, if the effect is not strong enough, wouldn't it be a pity for the vitality that will be consumed every time it is used? Luo Yacha checked his vitality and found that he had spent 5 points of vitality in the attack just now. It's only 5 points of vitality, which is almost negligible. Whether it is natural recovery or through diet, return of vitality is very easy to replenish, and it can be used as mana. When there are enough attribute points in the future, you can also point some of them on vitality to increase the upper limit of magic. Maybe there will be surprises of mutation. In just a few seconds, the vitality has automatically recovered a little. Roja is completely relieved and no longer cares about this small consumption problem. Seeing that Scuyad knelt down to plead guilty, from his words and deeds to the depths of his heart, he had completely surrendered to himself. Roja changed his mind and decided to maximize the effectiveness of this little chick, Scuyad. Most of the peripheral characters like the 43 Alliance Pirates are of the Scuyad type: impulsive, reckless, and single-minded. Therefore, in order to completely subdue these people, in addition to showing invincible and powerful combat power, it is necessary to give them some sweetness from time to time. With a big stick in one hand and a carrot in the other, this group of people will obey their own words. Intentionally or unintentionally, he glanced at the Ranger Doma and the Ice Witch Whitebeard, who had just boarded the boat, and Roja sat back on his seat. These two knives are good, one heavy and one fast, and can adapt to different combat needs. Unfortunately, your method of practicing swords is outrageously wrong, so it's hard to make progress. Roja's voice echoed on the deck where needles could be heard, and everyone who heard it was even more confused. Scuyad provoked the new Emperor's deputy recklessly, was punished miserably, and knelt down to beg for mercy. This is easier for everyone to understand. The Vice Lord suddenly changed the topic to cultivation. "What do you mean?" Scuyad, however, was blessed to the heart, and he immediately reacted. Clap! He slammed his forehead on the deck, and his body fell to the ground. "My lord, please give me the correct way to practice swords. From now on, Scuyad will be your sword slave, and your will be where the villain's sword is directed." Roja knew that the reason why Scuyad surrendered so thoroughly was because the effect of the previous trick was too powerful. "I thought to myself, it's good to accept him as a knife slave, and the deterrent and persuasive power to other people will be stronger." He nodded with a smile and said, "Very good. I accept you, a knife slave. The most suitable method of practicing swords for you is actually very simple. You only need to switch over, use this giant knife to practice fast swords, and use this long sword to practice heavy chops and slow strikes, and you can make breakthroughs in no time." As soon as these words came out, everyone on the ship was shocked immediately. Marco murmured, "Practice fast with heavy, heavy with fast. Wonderful. This kind of cultivation thinking is really powerful, as expected of the Vice Master Emperor." But Vista frowned, pulled out 2 Western swords in his hands, and looked carefully, not knowing what he was thinking. Jaws silently crystallized the flashes of his hands, staring at his fists in a daze. Even the Whitebeard, who was eavesdropping on the situation outside in the captain's cabin, frowned slightly, rubbing his chin subconsciously, thinking about the mystery of this. Elevate weight as if it were light, and lift it as if it were light. This kind of thinking is not only for swordsmanship, it can cover almost all weapons. Roja's true strength is not just the invincible domineering power. At this time, Doma and Whitebeard could no longer care about watching Scuyad's jokes and fell into deep thought. Several key team members still couldn't understand the principle of this, so they got together to discuss it. Brother, what exactly does the Vice Lord Huang mean? I want to cut people faster. The lighter the weight of the knife, the better. How can it be faster with Scuyad's big knife? Idiot, didn't you hear what the Vice Minister said? This is the most suitable way to practice swords for Scuyad. We just listen to it, we can't learn it. That's it. Well, it would be great if the Vice Lord could give me some pointers on my cultivation. Dream you. Scuyad had already recovered and thanked him again and again in ecstasy. Thank you, Master. Roja chuckled and threw the long knife back to Scuyad. Scuyad held the long knife in both hands and carefully put the knife back into its sheath. Then he knelt all the way backwards and moved to Roja's side, fully demonstrated the duty that a knife slave should have. The younger brothers who got on the boat with him, when they saw this, they stood up again, said to the key team members, "Hey, boy, our boss is now the Emperor's Vice Lord's sword slave. Why don't you kneel down and beg for mercy, and obediently go to our ship to clean the toilet?" Instructing others to practice is not too simple for Roja, because another powerful function of the field of knowledge and knowledge is that it can automatically generate a character card with all the attributes of any person or thing in the field, and store it in Roja's consciousness. For example, Scuyad's character card is very representative. Although this guy's armed domineering is only a pitiful 50 points, but his two attributes of physical skills and weapons have both reached 500 points. The point is, according to the character card, his potential value in these two attributes has reached the regular full value of 999. It can be said that the potential is huge, although the potential of the three kinds of domineering is not high. But after some training, developing these two attributes to the extreme, at least it is the combat power of the quasi-emperor level. It is for this reason that Roja did not refuse this guy's request to recommend himself as a sword slave. Although the knife slave is just a servant, its strength is also linked to the face of its master, Roja. Scuyad's combat strength is not enough, and Roja's own face is lost. Of course, the character card allows Roja to accurately grasp the attributes and status of each person. The most critical point is to give solutions to the problems of each character. Taking Scuyad as an example, the plan given on the character card is to change the method of practicing swords. Lift lightly, lift lightly. The conclusions drawn from the analysis and observation of the field of knowledge and color are naturally not wrong. Everyone on the deck is still immersed in thinking at this moment. Seeing this, Roja got up directly and walked to his luxury cabin. Scuyad kept his kowtow posture until Roja walked 5 meters away, then hurriedly got up, bowed and took small steps to keep up with Roja. After Roja entered the cabin, he dared to straighten up, guarding the door with a solemn expression, acting as the doorman. Just as he was about to close his eyes and carefully adjust his method and plan for practicing swordsmanship, he suddenly felt that the light in front of him dimmed. It turned out to be Papa Whitebeard, who appeared at the door of Roja's cabin. Scuyad hurriedly bowed to the end and said, "Father." Whitebeard's thick arm patted him on the shoulder twice and said, "Your choice is good. You must continue to work hard in the future." After finishing speaking, he knocked on the door of the cabin and then opened the door to enter. Roja sat on the sofa in the living room in his free time, looked at the huge white beard, and bent over to enter the cabin. Roja is very clear about the purpose of Whitebeard's visit. It's nothing more than wanting to help him solve the problem of old injuries and hidden diseases of his body. Looking at the inscrutable smile on Roja's face, Whitebeard felt a little guilty. After all, until now, he has not actually given Roja any benefits, but all kinds of responsibilities and obligations. He was originally ashamed to meet Roja, but Roja pointed out the direction of Scuyad's cultivation with a simple sentence and also brought a lot of inspiration to others. Under such circumstances, Whitebeard couldn't hold back any longer and decided to come to the door to ask for it. What if Roja really has a way to save his physical condition? Seeing that Roja smiled and said nothing, Whitebeard could only smile awkwardly and said, "Vice Emperor, look, can you help me with this old injury?" At this time, outside the cabin door, except for Scuyad who was guarding, more than a dozen captains, including Marco, Bista, Josie, and Izang, have all arrived. Naturally, they all came to ask Roja for advice and wanted Roja to teach them how to practice. At this time, I heard that Whitebeard was in the room, and he was asking Roja to solve his physical problems. Unanimously, they looked at Marco, who was also serving as a doctor in the regiment. Marco shook his head and said in a low voice, "Father's condition is caused by the accumulation of internal and external injuries from many years of fighting. Additionally, after aging and frailty, the body's functions are becoming less and less able to support the consumption of his huge body, so there is no way." After a pause, he hurriedly added, "Of course, I can't help it. Your Excellency may." At this moment, in the cabin, Roja had already said, "Old man, it is actually relatively easy to solve your physical problems." Hearing this, Whitebeard trembled all over his body. Although he still tried his best to maintain a fairly solemn expression, the slight trembling of his lips had completely betrayed his extremely nervous heart at this moment. Boom! 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 During Roja's brief silence, Whitebeard's violent heartbeat became the only sound in the cabin. His strong heart, which has experienced all kinds of storms and waves, finally beat wildly without disappointment after hearing that his body was still alive. His body, he himself knows best. It is already riddled with holes, and it is close to exhaustion. Tried every conceivable method, but it didn't help at all, just waiting to die. His only thought before was that he wanted to use his strength as much as possible in the key battle of rescuing Ace. However, what he heard now was what Roja said was easy to solve. It's about solving, not just suppressing or suspending. If only this could be fixed. Whitebeard didn't dare to imagine any more, for he was afraid that his hopes would be too high and he would be even more disappointed. But the body couldn't help but kept leaning forward, getting closer to Roja's position. "I am afraid that I will miss or mishear half a word next." Roja glanced at Whitebeard's character card and found that his vitality attribute had dropped to as low as 300 points. Combined with the solutions given by the field of knowledge and color, he will soon have a plan. He continued, "The main problem with your body is actually that the upper limit of vitality is too low, and the body is too large. Just the consumption of daily activities has far exceeded your recovery ability. So, no matter how you cultivate, your physical condition will not improve." Hearing this, Whitebeard couldn't help feeling more confident and looking forward to Roja, because what Roja said was indeed the predicament he was facing. Moreover, pointing directly at the root of the problem made him believe even more that Roja did have a solution to the problem, rather than bragging about it. Thinking about this, Whitebeard stared at Roja even more scorchingly. Outside the door, everyone held their breath and listened to the voices in the room. Roja laughed and said, "To solve this problem, we need to do two things: increasing revenue and reducing expenditure." Whitebeard frowned and repeated, "Open source of income and reduce expenditure?" Roja nodded and said, "That's right. What I'm talking about is the real increase in revenue and reduction of expenditure, not what you are doing now, huddling in bed all day and pretending to be dead." Whitebeard couldn't help but blush. Marco outside the door also blushed like a monkey's butt. Whitebeard's current recuperation plan of huddling in bed and pretending to be dead was made after discussion between him, the doctor in charge, and his father. Roja scoffed at this plan, which naturally made him feel very ashamed. Roja coughed lightly, calling Whitebeard's attention back. Said, "The so-called open source is not easy to achieve for the time being. After all, the current priority of the pirates is to rescue the second captain." People inside and outside the room nodded repeatedly when they heard this. In the Whitebeard Pirates, companions are above all else. Even Whitebeard himself would not put healing himself before saving Ace. Just listen to Roja continue. In the current situation, the most effective way is actually to reduce expenditure. The top priority, old man, you must master a skill as soon as possible. This skill is called returning life. Hearing the words return life, Whitebeard's pupils shrank instinctively, because he has actually heard of this technique. CP9's top secret technique, a top secret that will never be passed on. How did Roja know it? Could it be that the knowledgeable realm is so terrifying that even such top secrets can be found? Under the passive effect of the knowledge color domain, Roja knows Whitebeard's psychological activities like the back of his hand. Seeing that he had such a strange misunderstanding, he didn't bother to explain anything. He just explained with a smile, the skill of returning life actually means that through exercise, a person can precisely control every part of his body, even the hair on the tip of his toes is under control. This level of control, old man, you can easily master it after a few days of practice. Whitebeard was shocked and began to catch the subtlety of Roja's solution. Precisely controlling your body and turning off all unnecessary consumption can greatly improve battery life? But I heard Roja say, if it's just like this, what's the difference between letting you continue to lie on the bed and pretend to be dead? Old man, what I want you to do is to actively remove the severely aged parts of your body on the basis of precise control, leaving only the parts that are still alive. What? Take the initiative to eliminate? Whitebeard was stunned. Every part of the human body is indispensable. Take the initiative to eliminate? Is it possible? Treat people like logs? Cut off the dead branches and wait for the old trees to sprout? Simply outrageous. Roja pointed to Whitebeard's lower right abdomen and said, for example, your liver has hardened by a third. This part consumes more energy than your other internal organs combined. Cut it off. Whitebeard's lips trembled, imagining the scene of his liver being cut off in half, and he couldn't help but feel severe liver pain. But then I thought about it again, cutting off a small half of the bad ones and leaving the good half. Wouldn't it be possible to work better? Ordinary people would definitely lose their vitality if they cut directly like this. But if it is done with the super control of life return, there will be no damage, right? Directly decompose this part of the hardened liver and discharge it from the pores. Without the slightest pain, it directly takes away the lesions and aging tissues. Wonderful. Thinking up to this point, Whitebeard's eyes were already filled with uncontrollable surprise. He asked eagerly, Deputy Emperor, quickly use your knowledge and color field to help me see which parts need to be removed. I will make a list. Roja couldn't help laughing. Old man, don't you understand this kind of problem after you train yourself to return your life, so I don't need to use my knowledge to help you. Whitebeard laughed loudly and said, it seems to be the truth. Deputy Emperor, your budget saving plan is really thorough. The part that is seriously consumed is directly removed. It's hard enough. I like it. Roja joked, after doing this, you're afraid you'll lose dozens of caddies. Whitebeard was even happier and said with a smile, it doesn't matter, the thinner the better. It's best to give people the feeling that I'm already terminally ill so that I can catch this old bastard from the Warring States period by surprise. Roja laughed and said, don't worry, old man, this is only the first course of treatment. After you do it, there will be a second course of treatment waiting for you. At that time, I'm afraid one Warring States is not enough for you to fight, old man. It's about the same for the 3 admirals of the Navy to go together. The smile on the Whitebeard's face gradually stagnated. It's not because I can't believe Roja's words. Rather, the supreme arrogance in his heart that he possessed in his prime is recovering strongly. That's right, when did I only think about giving Warring States a hard time? Just because of the burden of the body, you have become less and less confident. Do you think you can no longer compete with the Warring States? So you feel the need to sacrifice yourself in order to save Ace? Nothing. What Marlon Van Duo, what Navy headquarters? Even if the Warring States period is gathering elite naval forces, even the Shichibukai will stand on the side of the Navy, even if the Navy is ready for work. So what? As long as the physical problems can be solved, even if it can only return to half of the peak level. See if I won't smash Marlon Van Duo. Whitebeard took a deep breath and solemnly looked at Roja with extremely grateful eyes. It was this seemingly mediocre young man in front of him that made him really regain his almost exhausted ambition. It was him who made the tragedy of the hero's twilight never happen to him again. It's him. Make yourself confident again. Whitebeard took one last look at the confident smile in Roja's eyes and nodded vigorously. Standing up, he said, "Deputy Emperor, I'm going back to my room to speed up my life recovery. The gang of bastards outside the door, there is Deputy Lau. Please give me some pointers." After finishing speaking, he bowed deeply to Roja. At this moment, in Whitebeard's mind, Roja is already an outstanding figure worthy of his absolute respect. It's no longer the role of successor who he tried everything possible to entrust the pirates to him. Outside the door, the 15 captains were all pale. Although separated by the door and the wall, their knowledge and domineering, but completely sent Whitebeard's movements into their perception. Whitebeard, who has traveled all over the world for 40 years, actually performed junior etiquette to Roja. Even facing the mighty Locks and the famous One Piece Roger, Whitebeard has always been his equal. In today's era, the strongest man in the world actually pretends to be a junior in front of an unknown young man. The only explanation for such a subversive move is that Roja's strength has far exceeded the imagination of all of them. Whitebeard understood, so he was willing to do so. Scuyad's back was straighter, and there was an undisguised smug expression on his face. It's a very lucky thing to be able to become the sword slave of the Emperor's deputy. With a bang, the door opened. Whitebeard stepped out of it and glanced at the captains one by one with encouraging eyes. Only then did he walk back to the captain's room with a vigorous posture that no one had seen for a long time.